Go ahead.
Just that?
No?
Okay. My name is Sri Rao. We're standing mamish in front of Rebbe MHS House. Baruch Hashem, I'm talking with
Mendy Greenberg.
Mendy Greenberg. So I wanted to say a few experiences. I had other people that were amazing spiritual experiences with the Rebbe MHS Shlita in Yechidus. So the first one is, I guess the water is pretty interesting. I did tshuva in 1970, and I started going to be by the Rebbe in 71. To stay every Tishrei, I was learning in Israel. So the first time I had an individual experience with the Rebbe is I didn't like crowds. Now I wish I'd gone, but I didn't. So there was all these crowds from pushing and shoving by kosher bracha. So I had to go to the side to go take a rest. I went to a door, took a rest. I got up, it's finished. It's like 2:30. I was upset. I didn't know what this. I said, figure maybe I'll knock on the door of the mosque here, and maybe there's some wine in the cup left. I don't know. A new guy. I didn't know that anything. So I knock on the door. So right away they tell me go there. So now I realize the Rebbe must have told them ahead of time because they didn't ask me much. As long as they said you had some, they stand over there. The Rebbe comes out from his room and gives me a kosher bracha. I was embarrassed, but I mean that's my first. The second was my yechidus by the Rebbe.
This was right after, after kosher bracha was finished. The Rebbe came out of his room?
Yeah, right after it became, the Rebbe took the kos up with him. Right after kosher tzon. So then my first yechidus is I walked in, and I was a new guy. I know the Rebbe was a holy man, but I didn't have any ideas what the Rebbe was or wasn't. I didn't have I'm going to see this, that. So I walked in, and the Rebbe's standing, and he's standing way, way, way high up. He's like, his head is like high into the ceiling, very high up, and his feet way down. And he's like trying to figure out what I saw. And so at first I thought of the Sulam, Jacob's ladder, is connecting heaven and earth, which is true. Then years later, Ish Elokim, which is also true. Then I was meeting with some people. I told them the story about how the Rebbe was high up, high below. The guy looked at me, his head went through the ceiling. So then I realized at that time, I thought of Eino Minamida, because the Rebbe was in that same room. And then I said, that also talks about in Chassidus at this level, about the Rebbe, then you can Arna Kodesh. And then I thought about Nasi Huakol, which is, then a friend of mine told me I saw Atzmus. But I mean, that was my first Yechidus. So that basically did me in for any other era. I couldn't not be a Lubavitcher, no matter what happened. Unfortunately, a lot of things did happen. So that was that Yechidus. And I talked to a few people who had similar experiences, like 3 people actually. One was a friend of mine from LA, Danny First, said he was 12 years old, and at that time, there was the early 80s, they had group Yechidus. He told me his mother was more Himmeldick, more in the air, and his father was down to earth. They were both Balchuvas. He didn't necessarily believe everything his mother said. So I asked his father. His father said, what your mother says about the Rebbe is true, he tells him. So he tells me this story. So he goes to see the Rebbe. So they had Yechidus. Rebbe spoke. And after Yechidus, they're sitting by the Rebbe, by Chabring, and the Rebbe goes down to him and says, L'chaim, and he looks up the Rebbe, and he tells me, I don't know what I saw until my friend saw I saw the universe. He also saw this level of the Rebbe. And there's another guy, Pesach, I don't remember his last name. This is a crazy, amazing story. He was 16 years old, he was living in Long Island, and his aunts wanted to take him to get dollars. So they came to get dollars. He knew nothing of nothing. He says it was finished, and the Rebbe's standing by himself outside, which is very unusual. And his aunts tell him, go ask the rabbi for $1. The rabbi goes up to the Rebbe. He says, Rabbi, can I have $1? The Rebbe has $1 waiting in his hand for him. And he looks up at the Rebbe and he says like this, also he's on. And there's other person, I went to somebody's house, and the wife told me that she went for dollars, and she looked at the Rebbe and looked like God. She was afraid to get near him. So I mean, this is. So
what you said something about that the Balchuvas are able to see things more than the not Balchuvas.
Our source is because that's how we do tshuva. We do tshuva because Hashem picks us up, sees. First, we're good people, and we're just wanting. We don't know what to do. We're perfect keli. We want this. We don't know about it. It's like when Hashem shows it, He fills us up, and that's it. But that's the whole meaning of doing tshuva. If you really want to learn further, anybody can do tshuva. Because about tshuva is a dogma of a Levi, and the Rebbe says we should all be Leviim now, times of Mashiach. So I know you have to understand what it is, and then you can do it. Everything's done. So this is the last part I came with the last couple of months. But anyways,
but you saw clearly the Baal Teshuvos understood the Rebbe better than the.
When I teach the Baal Teshuvos, they understand it clearly, much better. But because that's.
I'm saying the regular Chassidim don't get the Rebbe.
No, because you have
explain.
to
Say it.
No,
but
Baal Teshuva, that's me. That's how I'm made. You just tell me what to do. You don't have to tell me why to do it.
Chassidim, regular guys.
Chassidim are not that same level. But
what are they up to? What's their darga?
Chassidim is the Kalim. We're the Oros.
The Baal Teshuva is the Eidos, and the Chassidim is the Kalim.
Yeah, that's how it works. And if the guys understand it, you have to understand how great you are. Everybody understands how great it is. Moshe Rabbeinu for weeks told Hashem, you got the wrong guy. What do we see later? Yismach Moshe ki et nemanu. Once Moshe accepted that everything's from God, I'm his special servant, he did everything. Baal Teshuvos don't understand this because nobody tells us this. And the non-Baal Teshuvos also don't understand. They just think, nobody understands why